I am still capitalizing on that opportunity of like people saying, hey, we really enjoy, hey, can you come talk here? Hey, can you come talk there?
Oh, little fish, big pond, big splash, big bag. Little fish, big pond, big splash, big bag.
What's going on, world? Welcome back to the Next Level Speakers Academy podcast, the #1 speaker training podcast in the world. I think I can say that. We on episode, 4 now, something like that?
3 or 4.
So I feel like I can say that now. You know what I'm saying? We #1 in the world. #3, episode 3. It is good to be back on here, man. It is good to be back with my brothers. And we got a special guest today.
Yes.
But before we get to our special guest, Jeremy, holla at the people, man. How you feeling? How's your week been?
Good, man. Good. I've been locked in. Been a productive week, a busy week, but productive. I try to say productive as opposed to busy because I could be busy and really not getting nothing done. Yeah. But it's been productive, man. I've been locked in, feel great. Back on my regiment. You know,
I called you were on a plane, I believe, or you were about to walk into a gig the other day. What gig was that?
I was in Indianapolis. I was in Miami the day before speaking, and then I flew that night to Indianapolis and spoke the next day.
Okay.
And then flew right back to the crib.
How was it?
Phenomenal.
Couple big bags and so bring back to the family.
It was. You know what I'm saying? I walk in feeling like, you know what I'm saying, like the championship parade.
Yeah.
After you come home from the gig. You know
Your wife feel like that, though. That's the question.
I ain't gonna lie, bro. There's a lot of stuff that move her, and she get used to it. And nowadays, the deposit hit before I even get there.
Right.
So back in the day, I'd come home with that check like, blah, blah. Now that thing done hit the bank. You know what I'm saying? But we're grateful for it all the same.
Nah, we definitely grateful, man. And our guest today, the man of the hour.
Come on.
Man, just one, a phenomenal human.
Period.
Two, a phenomenal speaker and leader, educator, and somebody with just an amazing heart. He's been a part of the crew for a while, and I'll let him get into kind of his backstory. But ladies and gentlemen, y'all give it up for my man, Dustin Rivenbark.
Yes.
What's going on, brother? How you feeling?
Rivenbark, but hey, it's cool.
Rivenbark.
Yeah.
What is it?
Listen, Rivenbark. So I get it all the time.
Okay.
Bro, all the time.
Bank.
Hey,
he was thinking bank.
Yeah.
In the bank.
Put the money in the bank. You were already
I
talking.
just call him
that
Dust.
paper. Yeah. Hey,
Dust to me.
No, so CJ, man, hey, that's a common mistake. I get that all the time. Listen,
Yeah.
Hey, it's just an honor and a privilege to be able to be here, share the mic with you guys.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited, man.
Talk to us, man. How you been, man? What's been going on, man?
Man, so crazy busy. So yeah, man, I
asked Dustin if he was coming to Mexico with us. Dustin usually come to Mexico with us. He was like, nah, man, I got a couple gigs, gotta, handle.
We out here working,
I can't be, hanging with the peasants no more. So,
right. No, but let me say something. So at our annual conference, we have the award ceremony on the final day, and last year we had like 3 major awards, like the Diamond Award for different people that do like 7 figures a year. Yeah. I mean, 6 figures a year. And a few of them couldn't make it because they had gigs. And I was like, as hurt as I am, because our conference is like our Super Bowl, like family reunion.
Of course.
But I was like, I guess that's a good reason. So Crump been getting on me like, bruh, put the dates out there as early as possible so everybody can be there. But when I hear you can't come to a mastermind or a meetup because you got a gig, I can't help but frown and smile.
Next Level Speakers Academy is what we do.
Yeah, I love
it. Why don't you just start with the backstory, man? Where you from? What do you do? And how did you get to this moment?
Yeah, man. So I'm from a small town, man, Columbia, Alabama, shout out. And so, man, we got like 1,000 people in our town on a good day, man. And so just a wild kid with a crazy dream to change the world. Had no idea what that was gonna look like, what that was gonna be. But man, I moved around a lot. My mom, she kept us on the move, and so I was one of those where I fell into a troubled youth early on, and so arrested at 16 years old, dropped out of high school senior year, and so. But I got my praise God, right? Got my mess together. Went offshore, did 10 and a half years, man, in the oil and gas industry, where I learned the value of hard work, man. I worked my way from a roustabout to a subsea engineer, bro. It's almost unheard of in that world. And so, about 7 years ago, man, bypassing a lot of story, a lot of history here, the bottom fell out of the oil field, man. And my final year, I was making 150 racks, my final year. And so, but God had intervened in my life so much so that I kind of had felt called to go into ministry. And so when I left the oil field, I had a couple of options. It was either, prostitute myself out by trying to stay in the oil field by any means necessary, right? Or fulfill my God-given calling, step into my destiny. And what that was going to look like, I had no idea. I just had to be obedient in the moment, man. And so, yeah. And so from there, man, I went into, ministry as a youth pastor. My wife and I, during our first year of ministry, man, we experienced the hardest year of my life, bro. So we lost our daughter, Callie Grace, to Potter syndrome. I experienced death 5 months later with the passing of my mom, man.
How old was your daughter when she passed?
So she was born. She passed away inside the womb.
Okay.
And so
What's Potter syndrome? I'm not
So
familiar.
Potter syndrome, see, is when you're born without kidneys or a bladder. And so early on, we were hearing words like termination, abortion, but we decided to carry Callie Grace for as long as God would sustain her.
Absolutely.
Right? And so yeah, right. 5 months after that, man, I lost my mom to a drug overdose. A drug addiction took her life. And, it was in that moment, this realization that life is fleeting, right? And it was like, it was a eye-opening event in my life when a couple of months after that, I lost my grandmother, final stages of dementia. So in 1 year's time, check this, I saw death at the beginning of life with my baby Callie Grace, middle age with the passing of my mom, end of life with my grandmother, and I realized we only get one shot, man. One opportunity this side of eternity, and that's all we got, man, to make an impact.
Wow. And that's a 3 women in your life.
3 women.
Separate from your wife, your daughter, your mom, your grandma. Wow.
And so we so often talk about how, having those tough situations kind of leads us into, what we do and what we speak on and what we teach on and how we overcome and how we teach others to overcome. Talk about now this transition into ministry. Are you, youth pastor at the church? Are you pursuing opportunities outside the church? What's going on for you as a speaker at this time?
So what happened, man, was I've always been, that's going back to working offshore, going from roustabout to subsea engineer. My motto has always...
I don't know what a roustabout is.
Hey, you just chase a crane ball, man. You just go out, you unhooking loads and all that stuff on the deck. It's a lot of work. It's brutal, a lot of stairs, a lot of sweeping and mopping. You know what I'm saying? You're like the janitor of the rig, so to speak.
Okay, got you.
And so you working your way from the ground to the crown, just like in life. And so
subsea engineer.
So subsea engineer is in charge of everything below the water, man. Your blowout preventer, if you guys remember the horizon. Yeah, subsea.
I was thinking
subsea
like
engineer. No, so
come on, Deanna. Deanna be with me.
Yeah.
Deanna was like, I the same way. Subsea.
So with that, I understood and I learned the value of keeping your head down, right? And so I just kept my head down, man, going in ministry. And I fell in love with students. I just fell in love with teenagers, with where they were at. I could relate because I wished I had that person in my life back in. I wish I had been open to receive that type of person back in my life. You know what I mean? And so I fell in love with the opportunity to just serve the local church, man. And so it started from there, man. And I started speaking, and then next thing I know, kids would say, hey, can you come speak at our FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, right? Hey, could you come speak at First Priority? And I would go, and people would be like, yo, there's something here. Hey, can you come talk to our football team? Next thing I know, community is reaching out. Hey, can you come speak at our rec league?
Come on.
You know what I mean? And it just started from there. And then the pastor, was like, hey, one Sunday, it was like, hey, we're gonna let you preach big church. That's the crown of ministry when you get to preach the big service, right? From a youth pastor. And so I remember going up there, man, and I had this message about Jesus just breaking chains, man, just breaking you free. And I had demonstrations, and I used some of my students in it. And I remember the reaction and the response, and it was powerful. And I still didn't relate that to me. I related that to, God and the story that he had given me, just like I still do today, right? And so in and through that, man, opportunities just started to come, right? And they just started to happen, so much so that it would conflict with ministry. And so in and through the conflict was where a lot of things like some real come to Jesus moments with like, okay, what do you want to do? You know? And
what year was this when you were starting to have that conflict? And
so
trying to make
this
the
would have
decision?
been, this would have been probably 2018, 2019, right?
Gotcha.
And so we're really starting to have these different conflicts, and we're like, okay, and I'm talking to my wife, and she's like, Dustin, you have a gift. The world needs your gift. And so I didn't, I knew that I wanted to try something. A buddy of mine sent me a whole nother speaker thing, a speaker academy thing. And so I was like, I'll take a look at this, tried it, really wasn't for me. I was like, I'm not really about this. Right. And then Mexico, right?
Come on.
And so you mentioned something
the
about information changes situations on the last
What they
episode.
say.
You mentioned applied information changes things,
That's what
right?
they say.
And so it wasn't until you know ETA, Next Level Speakers Academy, all of that together, the community in and of itself changed my life.
Wow.
And it happened in a moment. And Make Real Estate Real, actually, shout out Maul. And so in Make Real Estate Real, I had gotten the game. I knew I needed another vehicle. There were things in life that I wanted. There were places that I wanted to go, people that I wanted to see. And so I got an opportunity through Make Real Estate Real, through applying that information and actually acquiring properties, all of that to give my testimony. And so
I'm in Mexico, see, because I'm there for the conference, showing love.
Yep.
And I'm sitting back and I'm seeing Dustin on stage with his wife speaking, sharing their message, their story, their testimony. I was thinking like, yo, my man got the juice.
Yeah.
And I felt your heart.
Yeah.
And then, we connected shortly after that. And that's when you was telling me like, man, I feel compelled. I got some real estate investments going, but full time you pastor, like I'm looking at transitioning, saying, and really like being a professional speaker, like full time. And I knew then I was like, bro, you got the juice. Like it's about to get really interesting.
And here's the thing, at that time, man, I was scared to death. I didn't know what that meant to say I'm a speaker. See, I didn't know what that looked like to say I'm a speaker. I just remember, I remember as soon as I got off that stage, I remember Maul grabbed me and he said, bro, you were born for that stage. I was just giving a testimony of how I bought in a building. Right. And next thing I know, he's like grabbing me. And so then I run into you and Tracy.
Right.
And you at breakfast. Yep. And you like grabbed me by my elbow and was like, hey, great testimony. And I'm like, bro, what is this? And we had swapped numbers. And when I came back to the States, I remember we talked. And it was in that moment you were like, hey, you've got you've got it. You need to step into this. And my wife, man, was behind me. And at that point, man, I had the blood in my eyes. It was like, man, I got one shot at this life. It's showtime. It's showtime.
I love it. And the key part, you said your wife backed you.
Yes.
Like that's the superpower. Yeah. That's that battery pack. It's 100%. Like, okay, if she backing me, because she could have been like, speaking, nah, you doing the most, no more courses, but she backed you, but it's because she saw something inside you.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about that real quick, because we got people that's listening to us and they probably thinking like, man, I wish my wife would back me like this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, but you be forgetting to pick up the kids from school sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Or you forget to take out the trash, or it might be some little small things you keep dropping the ball on, or maybe you picked up 5-6 different hobbies over the last 2 years, and you have about a 3-month track record, and then you stop and start something new. There was obviously something inside of Dustin's life for his wife to say, see, we a holistic podcast. We're not going to just give you the game of speaking. We're going to show you what it takes to get to that next level and have those that love you and support you back you as well. It's obviously something your wife saw within you that made you say, made her say, you know what, I'm going to back you, I'm going to support you, I'm going to rock with it. Same with my wife. See, mentioned in a few episodes ago, my wife's love language is stability. Like hands, affection, a random acts of service, kindness, words of affirmation, all that's cool. Let me check that bank account.
Right.
Let me add some more zeros. Like that's what her, for whatever reason, like that's what she's like. That's my love language. For my wife to want to quit her job, Dustin, walk away from a great job with the government, bruh. Amazing boss, respected by her peers, winning awards, to walk away to support a knucklehead like me that went to 3 different schools for the 9th grade. But why? She saw me running ministry. She saw me out feeding community. She saw me being consistent. She saw when I said, I ain't touching no more alcohol, no tobacco, no weed, not a drop, like nothing. She saw me keep my temple pure. She's like, hey, he's a man of character. He's a man of integrity. He about his business. So when I said, I'm thinking about quitting my job, she said, I believe in you so much, so I'm going to quit my job too. So I had to highlight that because somebody's, I felt it. I felt somebody saw, somebody's watched this and be like, see, I wish my wife would support me. That's what's holding me back. No, you and your lack of execution could be what's stopping your wife or your husband or whoever from supporting you and holding you back.
Man, you speak it now. And here's the thing, like a lot of people wonder, like what does it take, right? What does it take to become a speaker? And it takes discipline, man. It takes a commitment. You think you want this life, man, but it's like, hey, are you about this life? Are you about it? And so one of those things my wife witnessed me. I told you I lost my mother to a drug addiction. A drug overdose took her last breath. Listen, I laid across my mother's chest in the hospital room while she took her last breath. Okay, I'm talking about people in the room yelling, Vicky, don't go. And I say out loud, I'm saying, Mom, it's okay, go home, right? Not because I wanted my mom to go, but because I could see it, right? The life was fleeting, it was leaving, and her son was spiritually Teflon. Bump that Kevlar, bulletproof.
Come on.
And so I'm ready to take that mantle of life that is fleeting from my mom, and I'm ready to put that joker on my shoulders. And my motto that I say before every speaking engagement to people is, let's go, right? And it's this intentionality that you think you have time, right? You think you have time to invest. But the fact is this life, listen, I got real flesh and blood rubbing shoulders with Jesus himself right now. I'm good. My daughter, my mom, right? I've got that mantle of life she passed on my shoulders. And here's the thing, it's my responsibility to motivate, inspire, and empower everybody that I come in contact with. And that's my goal.
Man, you can tell. Hey, so listen, you could tell when somebody got it. And it's like, yo, that's what Jeremy and myself and everybody else saw in you when you came to Mexico. It's like, if you can do that right there, this is the industry for you. And that's what we were trying to tell people. And now you kind of stepped out on our faith too, right? Because we believed in you. Talk to us now about where you're at now. Like booking engagements. Obviously, you can't come to Mexico. You got a gig, but and I think we might have talked on the call the other night. We are our weekly calls.
Yeah.
You asked me a couple questions on the weekly call. Let us know how you got from Mexico, youth pastor, and just kind of doing your thing. What was your first paid speaking engagement?
Okay. So back up to the first question. The first question was, how did I get from Mexico to that? Because it sounds easy. Oh, I was youth pastor. I made this decision to go out on a limb with Jay, and next thing you know, I'm booking gigs. And you know what I mean? And it's not that easy. So I had to make a mental, a spiritual, a physical commitment to step in and tell my pastor that this is what I want to do. Do you know the type of feelings that can be in that room? Yeah. That can be a tight, tension-filled room. And so it was actually...
Especially when you're good at what you do.
Right. Listen, we're growing youth ministries. I'm talking double these things. And so here's the thing, man. It was a conversation I had with Coach Crump. Shout out Coach Crump. So I had a conversation with him. He actually... I had joined the community. I was trying to learn the game in hopes that I didn't have to make that conversation.
Right.
I just hoped it was just going to happen.
Yeah.
Right. And so I remember Coach Crump calling just kind of a wellness check. And I was like, bro, here's the thing, man. I'm a youth pastor. I don't know how to get paid. I said, I know how to go out and find opportunities. I can go to a football coach and say, hey, let me come and talk. And he said, Dustin, just keep doing what you're doing. He said, just keep speaking. He said, just keep your head down. Keep doing what you do. He said, your character's going to speak for you.
Come on.
He said, eventually, you got to put it out in the world, though, man. He said, you got to tell people this is who you are. And this is what you do. And so I took those words to heart, man. And I stepped out and I went and had that conversation. And guess what, guys? My pastor backed me. He backed me. He said, bro, we see this in you. He said, you are an evangelist. He said, I can see you churches schools. Now he doesn't know the whole laser,
Right,
you know,
yeah,
the
yeah.
whole.
Right.
But he's like, man, I can see you in all these areas.
Right.
He's like, you have it inside of you, and the world needs it. And so that conversation that I was so afraid of, man, I think we demonize a lot of the fantasies or a lot of the dreams that we have. We make things seem so much harder than they actually are.
Assumptions.
Yes.
We didn't got all in our heads.
Yeah.
Now we question if it's going. We didn't have a whole conversation, and it's like he might not even say that.
Right. He might not.
Right.
And here's the thing. And so I went into it, man, and my church actually helped me to form a nonprofit, man, and step out. Step out into this thing. And so I stepped out, man, and through, getting the game, I don't know how much game we're going into or if we want to like save some of that, but it's like, hey, we started hitting the streets with Doughnuts, going to the schools.
Yeah.
I got a good friend of mine. Guess what? He owns a Krispy Kreme in Dothan.
Come on, bro.
That's dangerous, though.
Hey,
You
bro,
gotta be careful with your dog.
gave me stacks.
Your homie on the Krispy
I go out
Kreme.
with the free donuts, show
I'll
up
be the
at the
passed
school.
out in a little diabetic shock.
Yeah, man. And we're using these as gifts to you know what I mean? To make everybody loves Krispy Kreme. And so,
Everybody.
So I wanna tell a story.
I never got my question answered about the first gig and how much it was for.
okay.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So
That's
That's what happens when you got two speakers on here. They get excited.
yeah.
Start running off. Dustin told me about everything but the gig.
All right, so
right.
first gig, man, I had
yeah.
a buddy of mine who was actually a GM at a Hyundai dealership.
Come on,
in
that was
Dothan.
one of our nuggets, man.
Yeah.
Right in your own
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
Guess
People
what?
Right there.
Guess what? I was youth pastor to all three of his girls.
Hmm.
So when I stepped out on my own, he saw it and he's like, bruh, I'm with you. I support you. He's like, come in to our leadership meeting and give us a message. And I stepped in $400, man.
Come on.
And for a leadership talk at Hyundai at Dothan.
Come
So
on.
I was like,
What
there.
was the message about? Like, what did you go in there? What did you
Oh
hit 'em
man, so I wrote a book, Courage and Redemption, 6 battle principles from the story of Joshua, and I went in there to give them my 6 principles. And I went in there and
with? Come
gave
on, one
them.
more time. Whoa, you ran through that quick. What was it?
So it was courage and redemption, the 6 battle principles from the story of Joshua. And so it was the story of Joshua from the Bible mixed with my story, right? And some applied principles you can apply to your life, man, that will bring change, that will change your life, man. And so that's what I went in with. And when I left out of there, I didn't know anything about cameras, setups, and any of that. He just took some photos from his phone and he sent them to me, and I used those, man. And from there, we just started building on it.
I'm telling you, man, it's something
Yeah.
about that first check.
Yeah.
I don't care what the amount is.
right.
But to get paid and to know that people see this as something worth paying for,
That's it.
It does something for your confidence.
So with that, see, funny you should say that. So I've gotten checks, right, that are bigger than that now. But that first check stub from Hyundai of Dothan for $400 is on my mirror in my bedroom.
Come on.
There's something about that first.
Cash the check. These just the stuff.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right,
Just
right.
the
Okay,
stuff.
got you. Yeah, go ahead and cash that. That 400. You know what I'm saying? That's something nice. But yeah, no. So from there, then boom. All right, cool. We got it. And Jeremy, did you want to get your question in? Because I want to build on the check. I want.
All right, go ahead. I'll say mine.
Okay, so now you're getting paid. You got your first gig. What now? Subsequently, what starts happening for you as a speaker?
Okay, so as a speaker, I get my first gig, and then I'm kind of on the edge, and I'm trying to remember what you guys say all the time, but it's like it's hard in the moment to like remember these things. And for a speaker, there's a lot of fear in there. See, you feel like once you speak, you've spoken for the last time. Even if you're booked 6 months out, 8 months out, you feel like this is the end of the road, right? Like 8 months out and I'm done for. And so that's the fear, that's the lies that creep into the flesh.
Yeah.
And so I speak and I'm scared to death and I'm like, that's it. That's all that'll ever happen, right? And so through being in the Next Level Speakers Academy, I start like, okay, let's get the website on point. Let's get EPK looking right. I hop on Canva, right? I take some pictures of some stuff from some schools. Because I told you, I was a youth pastor. I've been in some schools. I've gotten some photos, right, from the past. And so, and I start putting all these things on a website and on my EPK, my electronic press kit,
Right.
so that I have something to present, man. And so once that happened, and I just started pounding the pavement, man. I would have friends that would come through with opportunities, right? I had God come through with opportunities.
Come on.
You know how I know that to be true? But my team just texted me, reminded me, tell them how many speaking engagements you got within that 3-month parameter.
25 plus engagements in 3 months. Listen, and
what are we doing?
25 plus. And let me tell you, some of those, it was just come from being a man of integrity.
Yeah.
Being a man. Somebody will reach out, and say, hey, I've been following you for a while now in the background and loving what you're doing. I've got this opportunity, man. Somebody just got sick and we need you to speak.
Come on, man. Bruh,
Just out of nowhere.
Let me tell you. I want to tell them about, and now I want you to talk about the importance of maximizing those opportunities.
Yeah.
So, see, one of my guys who's a very popular, successful speaker, shout out to Nathan Harmon. He reached out. It was like, yo, Jay, I got this gig in Alabama. I'm not able to make it. Something else happened. He was like, I know you probably, not gonna be available for it, but you got somebody else you can recommend. I was like, yo, my man Dustin in Alabama. And I was like, I know he got the heart. I know he got the character. You give him the microphone, he can go. He's like, bro, I was thinking about Dustin. I'm going to reach out to him. Dustin got the engagement, paid.
Yep.
Tell him how many people you spoke in front of.
3,000 people in the room,
Come on, C.
3,000 people in the room, and it came at 10 o'clock at night.
Come on,
and listen,
talk about it.
I gotta be in the room at 9 o'clock.
Bump that.
Yeah.
I hit Dustin and said, look out for a call from Nathan. Dustin texted me at like maybe 8 and was like, yo, bro, I didn't hear from him, so I'm guessing
it didn't go
it's a
through.
no-go, but it's all good. Yeah. Then you got that call at 10 o'clock at night.
Then I got the call. And here's how dope having community and people around you is. And so once I let Jay know, hey, I got the gig. Yep. So we don't bother Jay at night. Night's your time with your family.
Of course,
you know what I'm saying?
Please. Right.
But he's calling and he's like, hey, man, congrats. But, bro, you got to have boom, boom, boom. You going on at 9 in the morning. Do you have this?
Yep.
And I'm like, bro, what? And it's like, yes, I can make it happen.
Yep.
And so he's like, of course I don't have a photographer. This is happening in the morning, bro. And so he's like, man, you got to take your daughter. And so so he's like, you've got to capture footage of you going in and all of this. And this is how important, because speaking can be a lonely business, man, if you don't have people around you. It can be a scary, dangerous place of not knowing how to capitalize.
Yep.
So we put all of this together. He's like, hey, call me at 7 in the morning. So I call him again at 7 in the morning. We run through this stuff. Boom,
I gave
boom,
him the
boom,
play
boom.
again. I
Over-communicate. And we get there and executed, man. I mean,
Let me see.
Look at that stage,
Let me see.
So we're talking about
Make sure we put this in the pod.
Yeah. We're gonna put this up on the screen in the pod so you can see that.
And so we're talking about 3,000 students in the room, man, and all schools, right, that do beta in the state of Alabama are here. I am still capitalizing on that opportunity of like people saying, hey, we really enjoy, hey, can you come talk here? Hey, can you come talk there? And so it all came off of, man, just being obedient, keeping your head down, man, understanding the purpose. I'm big on purpose, see? I'm big on purpose. Like I want people to understand, Jay, that like if they have breath in their lungs, right, God's not done with them, number one.
Yep.
But if they have breath in their lungs, they're here for a rhyme and a reason, right? And it's my responsibility to respond to that call to action, which is the breath in my lungs, man. And so
heavy.
Heavy. Yeah.
So,
Dustin Rivenbark, everybody. What a word, bro.
Dust, man. It's so much more that we want you to share. I know this won't be your first or last time on here, but how can the people follow you? Let them know where they can see your socials, and if they want to book you for a gig, let them know.
No doubt. DustinRivenbark.com. my website, and of course, my Instagram at Dust214. That's DUST 214. 214 is just Valentine's Day. So you can remember that.
He filled with love.
Yeah, feel the love, man. Hey, let's go out, man, and let's change the world.
Oh, man, I appreciate it, man. Before we get out of here, as always on this pod, man, I like to let my dog over there, Jeremy Anderson, give us the butcher's cut. Now, the butcher's cut is that select piece of meat that the butcher usually keeps for himself. But today, we letting Jeremy give you that game. Go ahead,
So I'm
Jay.
gonna give you the slice. I'm gonna give you the same slice that I actually gave Dustin, right? And some of the people in our community. He referenced donuts, and the fact that you got a Krispy Kreme plug is major, right? So this is what I train people on. This was a game changer for me, right? And this doesn't just work in schools. This works in a lot of different industries, because who don't like donuts unless you want to diet? You go and you find the different schools or organizations or whatever in your area. You find a 20-mile and a 50-mile radius. You circle it, and you begin to target those next to you. Because if you just pull up at the average high school and say, hey, I'm Dustin, I would love to come in and speak for your, they feel like you're trying to come and just get money from them. But when you come in and say, hey, I'm Dustin, and man, just want to thank you all for what you do. I live here locally. I'm a national speaker, and y'all in my backyard. I just want to drop off some donuts, man, and kind of get to know y'all. Oh, it changes the game. Now you got women at the front office like, baby, now I'm on this diet, but give me them donuts, boy. What you want? What you really want? And now I'm like, all right, well, where the principal at?
Yeah.
Where the assistant principal at? Where the guidance counselor at? And now that gatekeeper, because that's my butcher's cut. The gatekeeper, it ain't the principal superintendent it's the person in the office that makes those moves. And I don't want some of them over where they like, baby, he be really busy, but I'll tell you what, give me your number. I'm gonna call you from this line when he get in his office, and I'm gonna patch you through, because they want to see you win, because you done brought them donuts. So that's $7 that you spend on them dozen donuts gonna mess around and get you $7,000 school contract. And so that's the butcher's cut. As opposed, the word says it's better to give than to receive. So as opposed to showing up to organizations just asking for business, how about you going to earn their business and get to know them? And I came up with this model because I love the idea of being a pharmaceutical rep. I never got into the industry, but that's how I figured I can make 6 figures. Right. And I realized the pharmaceutical reps, if they want to build with the doctor, they bring in gifts, they bring in tickets to the game. It's always something that they have to gain a meeting with that doctor or that physician. I just took that same thing. And now to see that the donuts are working for you.
Jay, let me tell you something. The donuts, I kid you not, the donuts have put thousands of dollars in my family's pocket.
Come on, bro.
The donuts, all right, that entry point.
Make sure we name this episode
man.
The Donuts.
It works, man.
Jeremy, appreciate that butcher's cut. Dustin Rivenbark.
Yes, sir.
I got it right.
Let's go.
That ain't an easy last name, dog.
It's not. It's not. That's a tough one.
What, you remember Rookie of the Year?
Yeah,
Rolling
Gardner.
Rolling Gardner. He had it. All movie, he got my man name wrong. But nah, man, we appreciate you coming through. There's so much more to his story. Again, man, this, as always, is sponsored by NextLevelSpeakersAcademy.com. If you or anybody you know needs to be in this industry, speaker, motivational speaker, trainer, author, anywhere in that line of personal development, man, and you want to come get trained by the best, that's Jeremy, that's Inky, that's E.T., that's myself. Shout out to Coach Crump, who's also running things. Shout out to Nicole. Shout out to the whole Next Level crew. Everybody we got on the whole squad. We are in here, man, and we are all here to serve and to help you get to that next level. Here's a product, man. We just wanted to be able to show y'all, somebody who came through and is doing amazing, incredible things, changing lives every single day. And you could be doing the same. So join us at nextlevelspeakersacademy.com. And we out of here one more time through our guest, Dust. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank y'all. I'm honored.
See y'all next week, man. Love.
Appreciate you, bro.